Hi, I'm Mike Gubby from iSleep Blinds, and in this video I'm going to explain to you the two versions, it's hard to say, the two versions of 240 volt motors that we have available on the iSleep Blinds website. Now straight off the bat I'm going to tell you that I am not a licensed electrician, and the electrical information that I'm about to give you is general in nature, and any works that you do with these 240 volt motors must be done in conjunction with a licensed electrician. Now, the two motors that you have available to you is an electronic motor, which is called an E6. The E is electronic and the 6 stands for 6 Newton meters. And this is a E6 motor here. Now, this motor is also what we class as a 3-wire motor. The 3 wires that it has, I'm just going to read my list here. There is blue, which is neutral. There's brown, that's live. And there's yellow and green, which is earth, okay? Now, when you do plug that motor in and or use this motor, these are the tails that we provide you to give to your electrician to rough in whilst you're at building stage, okay? Now, I'm gonna talk about that end in a few moments, but just let me show you how it plugs it in. So what happens is that's gonna be coming out of the wall, and when you go and fit your roller blinds, then you've got this Molex cable, which is this safe connection point. And Charlotte, if you can come in nice and close, one end there's a little hook, and the other end here there's a little hook. So all we need to do is just bring those together and clip them in. Now that's safe for anybody to do. And then we get the cable and we just push it inside the wall. So to disconnect that, we just hold our thumb down and we pull it apart just like that. Okay, so it's really important that you order these tails from the spare parts list, and you order as many tails as there are motors in your home to provide to the electrician to rough them in when you're at frame stage. Now, the tail that you do get is a 4-wire tail, which is showing the 4 wires just there. Now, I'm about to talk about an M6 motor, which is a 4-wire motor, but for the E6 motor, the electronic version, then it's a 3-wire motor. So you've got to tell your electrician just to ignore the black wire, okay? Don't plug in the black wire, just use the blue and the brown and the earth, which are those 3 there. So because it's just a common part, it does come in a 4-wire version, but just ignore the black wire there, okay? Now, the E6 motor, the 3-wire motor, because it's a smart motor, this motor here gets controlled with the remote control, and it also gets controlled, if you want to, through the Pulse 2 Wi-Fi hub. So it's a smart motor, it's bi-directional, it has all the features of the ARC protocol, and the programming method that you use to set your limits is exactly like I've been talking today. Even with the 12 volt motors, it's the same remote control, it's the same programming method, everything's identical about it, except it is a 240 volt solution. Now, the second motor that I'd like to talk about is called an M6 motor. The M stands for mechanical and the 6 stands for 6 Newton meters. Now, a lot of people in the trade, we always also refer to these as a dumb motor because it's not smart. There's no intelligence inside this motor. Because it's 4 wires, and the 4 wires are blue, brown, black, yellow, and green. The blue is neutral, and I'm going to go back to that same tail. So the blue is neutral, the brown is direction 1, the black is direction 2, and the yellow and green is earth, okay? Now, these motors here, they need to be controlled by a smart home system. So what you got to do is run a 4-wire cable to each one of the motors individually to get that cable going back to your smart home controller. And what that will do is send a signal to the direction down or the direction up to make it go up and down. Okay, so that's the 4-wire version. Now, the way that you set the limits on this blind is with these apertures, which are right there. One of them controls the down limit and one of them controls the up limit. And when you order these motors, you also get this little stick just here. So what you can do is you do not use a cordless drill. You stick that inside there, and now you're able to turn the dial to make the blind go up and down. Now, it's really important that you have the direction of the wiring correctly. For example, if you hit the switch and the blind goes down instead of going up, then you've got your black and brown wire around the wrong way, and you just need to change those around. Now, on the automateshades.com website, if you go to the 240 volt version and look at the M6 motor, you will get these very detailed instructions here. This one is the wiring guide. Charlotte, if you could come in just a little bit closer, that's the wiring guide there to show you exactly what the 4 wires do. And importantly, on the next lot of pages, it talks about adjusting the limits. Okay, now the process of adjusting the limits is different, or it's a different aperture if the motor is fitted to the left-hand side, the right-hand side, if the motor is front rolled or the blind is front rolled or the blind is back rolled. So they've got a scenario for each one of those selections to consider which aperture to turn and also which direction to turn it. So I can't stress to you how important it is that you understand exactly what it is you're doing to set the limits of the motor, because the last thing you want to do is cross the limits over and then you can potentially lose them, which is not where you want to be. So really important to understand the way that you turn the apertures, and all the information is very clear there and laid out in that installation guide. And there'll also be some booklets that'll come with the motors that'll also explain that for you. So slightly different motor for a slightly different application, but still quite popular out there if you're using a fully integrated smart home system. So I think I've covered everything, Charlotte. I'd like you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thank you so much for watching today.